Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Griever Productions and another Masterclass video. This time, another artist. We're going to have a look at an artist that I absolutely have always adored. His voice has been hugely inspirational in my conversion, if you will, from classical music into rock music. And let's face it, he was honestly one of the pioneers of the kind of rock style that we know and love today. This man is by the name of Ronnie James Dio, who'd played in a number of different bands over his life, from a solo artist to with the band Rainbow, which was absolutely incredible, and I believe he played with Black Sabbath for a time there as well. Insane vocalist, like crazy stuff. I have spent so many hours going through many different songs of his and all the different projects that he'd done to try and work out exactly how he sings. And honestly, I'm still at a bit of a loss for it. But we're going to be here to pull apart this song. Now, this one, I haven't actually listened to this live version, which was done in 1993. I was 1 year old. I was 1 year old at this time, but a very good friend of mine said that this one is the one to watch. So let's have a quick look at this one. I want to pull this apart. As you guys know, I like to pull the songs apart, kind of take you guys through what's going on in them, and help to kind of teach aspects of kind of what I know and what I have been taught through the music, right? So, let's hit this, right? Before we begin, please do leave a like on the video. It really does help. In the description below, we have a link to our merch, our Patreon, and our Discord if you would like to join in the conversations there on Discord. But without any further ado, let's get to this. Rainbow in the Dark by Dio. Brilliant song. I love it.
A rainbow in the dark.
So, alright, based upon what we've got here, right, there's a couple of points that I learned very early on about Dio and what he does. I've gone on before talking about the vowel sounds that we use when we're singing. We fall into what's known as the Latin vowel sounds, which is R, E, I, O, and U. Sorry, O, not O, or whatever I said. Sorry, that was just a slip of the tongue. What ends up happening is, right, we use those vowel sounds. So when we're singing a note, let's, well, the lightning, it sounds like an E sound. The lightning, it comes out as E. Lightning, you know it always gets me down. It's an R vowel. And this is just kind of what makes up what we do, right? These are the fundamentals of what is happening. And it is incredibly important when we sing that we focus on those vowel sounds as opposed to the consonants around them. Obviously, the consonants are important because they determine our diction, which is how clear the words come out and are understandable to everybody else, right? But the vowels are what really differentiates as to whether or not we're going to hit the notes. What Dio was very, very good at doing was changing a vowel mid-word to suit himself. Now, I'm going to go back here.
I cry out for magic, feeling dancing in the light.
Okay, so what he does with this note, right? Have a listen to the way that he sings the word light.
Dancing in the light.
Light. He changes it from an R vowel to an R vowel. Shadows in the light.
Dancing in the light.
Dancing in the light. The way that he does that, right? It is unclear to me as to whether or not he does it as a stylistic choice, or if it's a case of he's not as good with the R vowels as he is with the R vowels, and decides to, go with the strengths. However, it's a really interesting effect that not many people, I haven't heard many people pull off that effect when singing before. So it's actually, either way, it kind of adds to the uniqueness of what Dio did.
It was cold, lost my hold to the shadows of the night. No sign of the morning coming. You've been left on your own like a rainbow in the dark. A rainbow in the dark. To your demons.
Actually, even the way he says dark. Rainbow in the dark. So it starts with an R vowel and goes to R. Dark.
To your demons, well, did they ever let you go? When you train to the eye, deep inside, is it someone that you know? We're just a picture, an image caught in time. We're alive, you and I, we're words without a rhyme. No sign of the morning coming. You're left on your road like a rainbow in the dark.
Also, can I point out that backing vocalist too? Like a rainbow in the dark. That harmony there's pretty sick.
No sign of the morning coming. You're left on your road like a rainbow in the dark. Like a rainbow in the dark.
But again, so it's interesting too, because the way that I would sing this, right, like a rainbow in the dark, I would go for the R vowel, right? But he goes for the O. Like a rainbow in the dark.
Like a rainbow in the dark.
Oh no, he goes for the R vowel there, actually.
Like a
Never mind.
rainbow in the dark.
There. Dark. Yeah, so it's interesting how he plays with vowel sounds, and you can never, it always kind of keeps you guessing, whereas with my kind of classical background, it always had me perplexed, because I was always taught that kind of consistency is key. So you would go through and you would go, okay, well, this one I'm gonna do exactly the same. Every time I sing the word dark, I'm gonna sing it exactly the same, right? But he kind of has taken that, what I've known as a rule, and gone, don't care about it, right? And that's something that I absolutely love about his style, is that he looks at it and goes, well, that might be the rule, but is that me? And if the answer is no, he doesn't do it. It's great. I love that note. Oh, always brings me down. The way that he gets in there.
When I see lying there, you know it always brings me down.
Always brings me down. The ease in which he kind of gets into that part of the voice and just kills it. Like, it's so good.
God is free, and I see that it's me who's the last to never fall. I cry on the magic, see it floating in the air.
Pardon me.
It was fear, and you fear it, calling you beware. No sign of the morning coming, inside to the day. You're left on your own, like a rainbow, like a rainbow in the dark, like a rainbow in the dark, like a rainbow in the dark, rainbow in the dark, no sign of the morning. You're a rainbow in the dark, 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 dark. Hey! I say you're all a rainbow. You're a rainbow in the dark.
Fantastic. So, a large part of the reason, right, that song was so inspirational to me is, so that's in the that's in the 30s. My God, that's in the 90s, right? This is 30 years ago, 32 years ago. That performance was, and oh my God, like to put it down and go, hey, this is how I sing. And there was, at the time, no assistance from like auto-tune, pitch correction, any of that. You got what you got. And for him to come out and do the song live and still get into that part of the voice. Now, the super important thing is, right, let's go to the start of this. Have a listen, right, to how he says the words rainbow in the dark.
A rainbow in the dark.
A rainbow in the dark. How low is that in comparison to his singing voice, right? Have a think about that for a minute. Because when you think about singers, right, usually their singing voice falls naturally in the same sort of range that their talking voice does. In his case, it's completely false, right? Or was it? Because fact of the matter is, it's more likely a case, and unfortunately we'll never know because unfortunately he did pass, I think it was in 2010, is that he kind of wanted his voice to do something and he learned how to manipulate his voice in such a way and pioneered a lot of the steps that it took for a lot of other vocalists to reach the heights that they do. For instance, people in the more modern world, like even people like Brandon Urie of Panic at the Disco, right? He uses similar, if not the same techniques that were pioneered around this time by people like Dio and Steve Perry. And it is just brilliant to go back to the root of where all of these inspirations are. Because when I went to my singing teacher that helped me with the rock stuff, right, his opinion very much was, okay, cool, you've come to me and said that you really like Dream Theater, and James LeBrie's voice is excellent, right? Here's where James LeBrie's voice is. Your voice is down here in terms of pitch and range currently, but we can extend it by going to his inspirations and working up the same way. And it worked. Like, I would not be able to sing these songs if not for that singing teacher, right? And the way that he took me through it was absolutely brilliant. And he made sure to go back to this era of music where the pioneers were kind of beginning, right? And this is the sort of thing that I absolutely adore about music, because you have sorry, I do mention Dio and Steve Perry, but another one that I want to mention that does a very similar thing with how he sings is Stevie Wonder. Incredibly high voice, but it isn't as high when he speaks, and it is very interesting when you hear him do those flips into that kind of middle register. These people are phenomenal. They absolutely took what they knew and expanded on it. They experimented with their voices and expanded on it so that basically what I'm trying to say is these guys walked and then ran in the end, right? They took it and they went, okay, cool, I want to do this. How do I do this? And then they ran with it, right? But the expression is they walked so we in this generation can run, because we take a lot of what these guys did, right? And we can now expand on them. But we have that starting point to go, this is what we want to start with. This is where we want to go with it. Where do we start? Where do we begin? This is where we begin, right? It's good. I love music. I love nerding out about music, and I love nerding out about this sort of music as well. And I hope you guys do as well. This one is incredibly close to my heart. I absolutely adore it, and I could talk for hours upon hours to do with this, which I may do in like subsequent masterclass videos. I'm not sure, but anyway. Thank you so much for watching this. I really enjoyed kind of pulling apart another song that I know very well. And like if you've enjoyed, subscribe, do all that sort of thing. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.